updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. And well, viewers, our S.E.A students are well into their exams at this point in time, and we certainly want to wish them lots of luck. I know the pressure that our students have been under, and the added pressure that our parents have been putting on our students and so on. We all went through it, but I'm just hoping that all of our students that are writing there would have the clarity of mind to be able to just produce that information that they have learned and do it to the best of their ability. But to give us a bit more perspective on that, we are being joined by clinical psychologist Mr. Dr. Hanif Benjamin. Good morning and welcome
Woo!
to you, sir. How are you doing?
Well, I am well. I am well. It's been a minute, so you forgot, and that's okay. A clinical therapist and traumatologist. I'm not a clinical.
Sorry about that, Dr. But I mean, we are so happy that you can be joining us. Now, Dr. Benjamin, we know that one of the things that you are not so much in favor of is the whole idea of that S.E.A exams, right? This is something that you advocate for in terms of removing that exam and removing that pressure on our children.
You are quite right, and let me just join you in wishing our children good luck today in this very unnecessary exam and traumatic exam. And I am definitely one who have been advocating for the removal of this exam because I do not believe at age 11 or 12 you should be going through this level of trauma in order to set your life trajectory. And therefore, I believe that, within the not too distant future, and I know the Prime Minister had indicated that there will be some conversations about it, we should really think about removing the S.E.A in its current form. I believe that this exam is too rigid for children of this age. I think children learning style, learning abilities are only now forming, and the exam kind of put that learning on a back burner to then prepare for this crazy exam. And so this is the period where we should be understanding the psychodynamics and learning, how the child learn, how they learn. And they're children. And therefore, I don't see the need to have such rigor. As a matter of fact, in the first years of a child's life, learning is a natural and spontaneous thing. Learning should be fun. Learning should be done through play and that type of development. And the way this is being done, it curtails. As a matter of fact, in Trinidad and Tobago, we start to prepare for SAF at the age of 10 or even 9. In standard 3, you start going to lessons, you start cutting things out. This is not, and that is not what children should be doing. We should be teaching, guiding, and molding children with fun and love and excitement. And the SEDA does not provide for that.
No, I mean, and as you brought that point up, last night I was actually reflecting with one of my friends who has a child that is going to be writing SEA today. And, I remembered, being back in standard 5 and, not being able to go and ride my bike or do just fun things because you were constantly
Foolishness.
reminded you have common entrance because I wrote common entrance. So you have common entrance to write, common entrance coming up. You can't do these things anymore. And it sucked, just
But
to put
not
it
only.
plainly, it was tough. What are some of those issues that you have seen in children that were under that pressure of SEA? What has manifested in them?
Well,
Like
even before the SA, the manifestation have been anxiety, severe anxiety in children. As a matter of fact, severe anxiety in parents who transfer their emotions onto children, right? And so when you talk about not being able to ride bike, again, I don't know who came up with that, but it's foolishness because the research has said and is saying to us that children who are engaged in extracurricular activities, especially as a child, because the brain is still developing, and in order for the brain to develop strong and healthy, it requires Not might require, it requires multiple types of input. That is how the child brain starts to wire itself into young teenagers and eventually adults. Now, when we rob children of these critical developmental issues, we are taking away. And then in Form 1, 2, 3, we want them to just get it back. No. We have to understand that the playing, the piano, the football, the cricket, the dancing, the riding of the bike, those things are actually helping the brain learn in a natural way. And when we take it away just to put pressure, imagine this. You are taking away a natural learning ability to put on artificial learning. Because the way we pressure our children is artificial. You have to sit down and study. Children have to study all day. There is no break. There is no lunch. That is too much for an 11-year-old. While some people may argue that, oh, we're teaching them how, no, foolishness again. It is not the way the brain should. Children are natural learners. We use the environment and what is given in the environment to help them learn and develop. Nobody went to the International School of Learn to Walk, but yet we walk, right? Nobody did lessons to walk, but yet we walk, and we will never unwalk unless something medical occurs. And therefore, even when the exam is still going for the next couple of years, my advice to parents, get a healthy dose of extracurricular activities, get a healthy dose of learning, and begin the process in a way that will not add this strenuous pressure on a child's mind. Because what we are doing, unfortunately, is telling our children how they should learn rather than allowing a child to develop their learning capabilities. Right? At that age, they have not solidified how to learn. They are still going through that motions. And when we set that exam up, and when we put the psychological pressure that if you don't do well, your life is shut, then we are putting our children on a difficult trajectory. And more importantly, when they transition to the secondary school, they can't find their way because the way the school, the preparation was done for the S.E.A.
Now, how does that pressure, how does that affect just the way that the student develops? Because some students are able to, embrace it and they turn out well, but we know that that's not true for many. To
Correct.
so many
But I
problems that, they end up growing up with, and they never are able to fully deal with it or overcome
mhm.
it.
You are quite correct. Now, I don't even know for those who go through it and go through it well, because I think well is subjective. What does go through it well mean? Because they were able to take extra lessons, because they were able to pass for a good school, is that well? When I see these children later on in life, we have a whole slew of problems: socialization issues, learning issues, mental health issues, depression and anxiety. They have to be on medication. No, I am not saying that there are some students who don't go through it, as you say, in a way that brings them out successfully on the end. But to me, that is in the minority. And what we need to be doing is creating a system for the majority of students to excel. Because the S.E.A seems to only be targeting excellence rather than hard work. And I say to parents, teachers all the time, if your child works hard throughout their school life, they will do well. There is no doubt about it. But when we put these added pressure on children, that is where the mind becomes confused. That is where learning becomes difficult. That is where a love for school is lost. Because a lot of our children, by the time they get to secondary school, they have lost the love for school and learning, and it becomes all about socialization rather than educational development. Because we would have prepared them so rigorously that they began to hate the whole school system. And so we have to create a system where we could tap into the multiple intelligences of children, we could tap into the various learning styles, where we can tap into child and adolescent development in a healthy way. Now, one of the things I want to put in here is that a child is going through, one, the most difficult exam they will write, and two, the most tumultuous changes in their biological makeup. right? The body goes through more biological changes at that age than any period in their lifetime, right? And so they are going through two major changes. And that is a lot for a child. And because most of our parents don't go through the biological development, today you're short and tomorrow you're tall. Today your voice squeaky and tomorrow is good morning, mom. Today you have breasts, no breasts, and tomorrow you have breasts, or little. And so all of these changes a child has to go through 11, 12, 13, plus this exam, plus going from a primary school with 3 to 500 people to 1,000. This is a lot of changes for any little person at that point, and very few is guided through that process. And that is very traumatic for many of our children.
Any correlation to, those pressures, especially with S.E.A and so on, and the school violence that we are seeing today?
Well, I think the school violence in and of itself is indicative of our society that we live. I cannot understand. For grown people, we are violent. We cussing people from parliament all the way down and expect our children to be good. That is not reality. That is a fallacy. Our children are mimicking what they see in our society. Our children are like sponges. And when they see our leaders, when they see grown folks behave in a dysregulated manner in society, then we should not be surprised that they are too behaving in this manner. But the thing is, we don't want to punish, or we can't punish the grown folks, but we're swooping in to expel children, to bring out the book of codes, to bring out this, when in actuality, we, the adults, have set the parameter as to where our children should grow and develop. And so it is disingenuous of us from the Ministry of Education, Division of Education, across the board to want to hold children accountable without first understanding that we, the adults, set the barometer for our children to follow. When we become adults who can, in fact, behave and teach and guide and mold, then our children will so do. But we cannot want to hold children accountable. And secondly, we are not listening to our children. Our children have been speaking to us. The pandemic has put them in a very difficult position. But we are not listening to them because we are the adults. But if we don't listen to them, we will feel them. And that is what we have been having going on, because we have not addressed the psychosocial impact, the traumatic impact for our children over the pandemic into and out of the pandemic. And so in order for the children's behavior to change, one, we must engage with them on a personal level, and two, as a society, we must change our behavior as well.
All right, I want to thank you so much, Mr. Benjamin. Such important nuggets of information that, it's perfect to end this interview on. Some things that we need to consider, even for our parents who are watching on and nervous, and worried about the outcomes of our children. Just some
They
things
will do well.
they will do well. The exam does not inform the rest of your life. It is just one thing in your life. Just one thing in your life. So your whole life is ahead of you. There's so many stories out there of people that did not do well in those exams and still turned out better than, better than a lot of people in the country.
Thank you.
So, again,
All right,
Mr.
guys. Thank you for
Benjamin,
having me. Bye.
we really appreciate you for being on with us and just giving us that perspective and that encouragement. And just some things for parents to consider, because we know it's tough, but we don't need to make it tougher for our children.
Agreed. Bye now.
All right, Mr. Benjamin. And viewers, yes, that's how we're going to end this morning's show. I want to thank you so much for being on with us. And like I said, parents, it's going to be okay. Hug your children when it's done. And, treat them nice. They've been through a lot at the age of 11. And they deserve a little break, right? So do not be hard on them. Do not drill them about, what they answered, what the questions were like. That does not help with their anxiety levels. All right, just something to consider as we go forward with your day. And we hope tomorrow's a holiday, so we won't be seeing you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Shelter Baptist Liberation Day, and at this point, I want to wish all the members of the Spiritual Baptist community a wonderful day tomorrow as you all celebrate. It's such a wonderful thing to be a part of Trinidad and Tobago and being able to have every part of us be celebrated. So tomorrow is the Shelter Spiritual Baptist Day, and hope you have a wonderful day. Whether you are joining with the celebrations or you're out with your families and with your friends, please be safe, because we want to see you around on the tomorrow, and want to see you joining us on Friday morning for another show. All right, so bye for now, folks.
We are people.